Juneteenth, y'all. Uh, just want to remind everybody before we get started on Red and Gold, rewind today where we look back at Week 14 in 2019 Niners versus the New Orleans Aints because they ain't so good. We'd like to remind everybody to go to twitch.tv/ Niner Faithful Radio to join us for the live streams of all our shows. So you can check them out live and go ahead and comment and see our pretty faces. Also, go to SeatGiant.com. Use the promo code Niner Faithful Radio to save on all your concert, theater, and sporting event tickets. That website again is SeatGiant.com, and the promo code is Niner Faithful Radio. For the Faithful, by the Faithful pre-launch sale is coming July 30th. Save 20% on all our designs. Go to NinerFaithfulRadio.com/shop for more details, and we will be having in 10 days. We'll be launching our designs for pre-order. So make sure you go to NinerFaithfulRadio.com/shop for all of those details. Get your officially licensed Niner gear from Shop49ers.com using our affiliate link. It costs you no more, and it really does help out the show. The link will be in the description of this podcast and videos. Go to NinerFaithfulRadio.com to check out all our interviews, blogs, and previous episodes for all our shows. And you, of course, can follow Niner Faithful Radio on social media at Facebook and Instagram at Niner Faithful Radio and on Twitter at Niner Faithful R. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, boys of all, girls of all ages, let's get this party started.
It is second down. Ryan takes the snap, throws the slant to the left side. It's Russell intercepted. The 49ers pick it, and Navarro Bowman is redemption. Navarro Bowman running it all the way for the touchdown. No greater redemption than a man's seat. Navarro Bowman, who could not cover an onside kick, catches a deflected pass for an interception and runs it 7 miles for a touchdown.
You are now tuned in to Red and Gold Rewind, exclusively streamed at twitch.tv/Niner Faithful Radio.
And we're back. All right, let's go ahead and get this party started. And as we all know, back in 2019, the Niners were on NFC Championship run on a trip to the Super Bowl. Week 14, the gauntlet was that week. It was New Orleans or Green Bay, then Baltimore, then New Orleans. We obviously beat Green Bay, lost to Baltimore. So we're going to New Orleans looking to avoid a 2-game losing streak for the first time all season. And going into that game at 10-2, I remember very distinctly that I called this game and I said this is going to be one of the biggest games of the year. And I knew the Niners were going to beat the Aints. It was, man, I tell everybody, if you really want to know the probably most exciting game you can get in the regular season, I mean, just a full game, not just, a play here or there. And this one's probably the game you're looking for. I mean, if you're not excited and don't fall in love with football after a game like this, then I'm sorry, you're just not gonna love football, especially Niner football. But which is obviously the only football we care about around here. But so it would start off with essentially pretty much the way it lined up was whatever team like this lost this game was going to probably be knocked out for number 1 seed contention. And it was, 4 out of the 5 times we had won the Super Bowl, the Niners were the number 1 seed. So this is obviously very important to win this number 1 seed. Both teams came in at 10-2, tied for that number 1 seed. The Niners had stayed in Florida the previous over that week in order to get accustomed to the East Coast and not have to fly back here to the West Coast and then go back out to New Orleans. They just stayed in Florida. I believe it's called the ING Academy. I forget what city in Florida it's in. But the game would definitely live up to expectations. New Orleans would take the opening kickoff and go 73 yards on 9 plays, and Drew Brees would hit Jared Cook when Marcel Harris, who was filling in for the injured Jaquiski Tartt, would miss a tackle, and Cook would take it in for a 38-yard touchdown and a 7-0 New Orleans lead. I mean, that would be really a theme in the first half, is that New Orleans taking the lead back, but also, well, not in the first half, but also, Marcel Harris had a great game in the running game, but was kind of exposed in pass coverage, and then that's when you kind of started to really, really miss Jaquiski Tart. The Jimmy who had his best game as a Niner this game, really, honestly, I think the best game to date as a Niner, would answer starting the game 4-5 and would tie the game at 7 with the 6-yard touchdown to KB on the only third down of the drive, and the score would be tied 7-7. Dante Harris would take the next kickoff for 51 yards to set up New Orleans up at their own 46, and 6 plays later, Jared Cook had his second touchdown of the first quarter, this one for 26 yards, but he would be injured on the play on really a bullshit pass interference call on Ahkello Witherspoon. I mean, let's be real. He hit him with his freaking shoulder. I mean, I guess maybe you could call contact to the head. So, but they didn't call contact to the head. They called unnecessary roughness. And honestly, I thought it was a clean hit. He was trying to jar the ball loose. And there was a couple BS calls in this game. We'll get to one a little bit later that almost cost the Niners the game. But Jared Cook would be injured on the play. But New Orleans would go for 2, but Bam Bam, a.k.a. Fred Warner, a.k.a. best linebacker in the league, and Marcel Harris, who I told you would have a great game in the run game, would blow up the Taysom Hill run, and the score would be – oh, sorry, that's the next drive. Oh, yeah, that is the drive. Would take a 13-7 lead. The first punt of the game would come on the Niners' next drive after Jimmy would be sacked on 3rd and 12 by Demario Davis, and Harris would return it to the Niners' 29-yard line. And 5 plays later, New Orleans would take a 20-7 lead when Brees would throw his third touchdown of the first half on the first play of the second quarter to Josh Hill for 3 yards. But this is when, you really start to think that New Orleans has all the momentum, and you're thinking, oh, wow, is the season going to fall apart? Obviously, you're not going to think that, so early in the first quarter, but it did not look good. But the Niners would show resiliency, and honestly, I thought the resiliency of a championship team, the whole game, and it would be no more apparent than on the next drive when it looked like New Orleans had all the momentum, but it would all change the next snap when Jimmy would heave it down the field, and Emmanuel Sanders would catch it, fall down, and get back up, take it the rest of the way for 75-yard house call to make the score 20-14 New Orleans. See, to me, this play is significant. And I believe that this play is significant because you go back to, let's be real, let's go back to the throw in Super Bowl 54. And you look at this throw, and you look at the third and 19 or 3rd and 16 against the Yams in week 16. You look at those throws, both of these should have been a walk-in touchdown, especially this one. This one was walk-in. There should be no way that Emmanuel Sanders didn't catch this house, but Jimmy underthrew it. I mean, let's be real. Jimmy underthrew this pass. He underthrew the 3rd and 16 against the Yams. So when you look at it, I mean, what do you think when Kyle Shanahan designed the play that ended up being, the throw to Emmanuel Sanders in the Super Bowl that, by the way, was open? What do you think Jimmy was told that whole week? Don't underthrow this ball. Don't underthrow this ball. Don't underthrow this ball. Don't underthrow this ball. And then lo and behold, what does he do? He overthrows it. And I think that had a lot to do with him underthrowing this ball and underthrowing the ball to Emmanuel Sanders, both of them to Emmanuel Sanders. I think that Jimmy definitely was thinking about not overthrowing the ball, which is going to cause you to what? Overthrow the ball. And so that's why I think it's a lot more in detail than, oh, Jimmy can't throw the deep ball. Jimmy can't throw the deep ball. Well, I think you need to keep things like this in consideration. And the mindset of, hey, I'm not going to underthrow this ball. Whatever I'm going to do, I'm not going to underthrow this ball. And I think that led to the overthrow of Emmanuel Sanders in the Super Bowl. New Orleans would take would drive the ball all the way to the Niners 4-yard line. After the Niners rose up to stop the Aints on three straight plays, it looked like they would force a field goal. But on 4th and 1, the Aints would go for it, and Drew Brees would punch it in from 1 yard out to make the score 27-14. This is one, honestly, I think this is probably one of the most fun plays in Kyle Shanahan's tenure. Coming up next, Kyle would dig into his bag of tricks for the next drive after a 21-yard catch by Debo and a 19-yard run by Raheem brought the ball to the New Orleans 35-yard line. Debo would take a reverse, then flip it to Sanders, who would throw it to Raheem for a 35-yard touchdown to make the score 27-21 New Orleans. And I mean, you knew the game was on and you were fired up. You're like, okay, Kyle's digging in his bag of tricks today, because we all know Sean Payton is one of the best play callers in all of football. I believe probably only riled by Andy Reid and Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan, which I would put Kyle Shanahan in, and Sean Payton as 1 or 2. I would put Kyle Shanahan as 1. But you could tell that Kyle was like, okay, I'm not going to get outshined this game. I think this was, I don't want to say an ego game because that makes it sound bad, but I mean, look, you already know you're going to rise to the level of your competition. And so the Niners themselves would rise to the level of the competition. And I should go for the coaching too. I mean, Kyle Shanahan knows that Sean Payton is a legit play caller and a legit play designer. And so that he knew that he had to come with his A-plus game for this game. And I believe he did. And this is one of the reasons why I believe in Lynch and I believe that we don't go into any game out schemes on the offensive side of the ball. We may be out executed. We maybe even out coached, but I don't think we're going to be out schemed. I'm sorry. I don't see Kyle getting out schemed. Okay. After scoring on their first 4 possessions, the Niners would finally force New Orleans to punt when Nick Bosa blew up Taysom Hill's run on 3rd and 1 to give the Niners the ball back with 4:16 left in the half, and Raheem would take it to the house on a 10-yard run to give the Niners a 28-27 halftime lead. I mean, this to me, the play before the touchdown is probably one of Juice's biggest plays. That's the pitch where he got rocked. I mean, I even think Juice would say that he got rocked in that play, but delivered the pitch perfectly. Raheem took it 19 yards to set up the touchdown. I mean, and Nick Bosa, you know, when a little bit ago I went back and I rewatched all the 49 hours that the Niners do, you know, after each game. Oh, excuse me, y'all. And this is one of the plays that jumped out to me where, you know, we all know Nick Bosa with the 80 pressures as a rookie and the sacks and everything like that. But this is one of the plays that I really said, damn, he really was that much of a difference maker. I mean, he just blew up that Taysom Hill play. And it literally led to the Niners scoring a touchdown. I mean, that game, that obviously is not going to get the credit that, you know, the Kittle on 4th and 2 that we'll get into later, but it's not going to get the notoriety as that play. But I think it was one of the most important plays in the game, because at that point, the Niners hadn't stopped New Orleans. So it didn't matter that we, you know, kept on scoring. If we didn't stop them, then it wasn't going to matter. And so I think that forcing that stop and letting the D know, hey, look, they're not superhuman, they can be stopped, was important. And Nick Bosa coming up with a team MVP, defensive player of the year type of play. Okay. The Niners would take the opening kickoff of the second half and move the ball all the way to New Orleans 35. But Jimmy's pass on 2nd and 11 would bounce off Emmanuel Sanders-Howard and be picked by Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. It was, and he would actually make a few plays in this game. But it was, that's when you thought, uh-oh. I mean, not necessarily thought, but you got into a little bit of a, man, there's that Jimmy throw. But I don't think this is Jimmy's fault. I mean, as somebody who played tight end a little bit in high school and, you know, grew up wanting to be a tight end like my daddy and idolizing Jerry Rice, and when I was a little kid, I really wanted to be a receiver until I went to football camp with Merton Hanks, and they were like, yeah, I think we're going to switch you to tight end. But, you know, I wanted to grow up and be a receiver just like Jerry. The ball touches your hands, you got to catch it. I mean, I'm putting that one on Emmanuel Sanders. You got to come up with that ball, bruh. And you know what? That could have easily cost us the game too. And the New Orleans would give the Niners would give up only 3 yards and force New Orleans for a 55-yard field goal when Witherspoon broke up a breeze pass intended for Ted Ginn, making the score 30-28 New Orleans. I mean, it seemed that this was not a defensive jam. This is the type of game plan as a defensive coordinator that's going to make you lose your hair. Thank God Robert Saleh was already bald because he probably would have been really bald after this game. But I felt that the reason that I think that I tell people this is an exciting game, even from a defensive perspective, is it seemed like whenever we needed the D, except towards the end a little bit, but whenever we needed a play for the D, whenever the offense failed, the defense was there, right, to have the offense's back. And I think that even though they didn't make all the plays and it was, we gave up 45 points, and all that, I think it's very important to say, hey, look, the D made the plays when it was necessary. And plenty of times throughout the 2019 season, you saw the offense just make enough plays when necessary. And you know what? This was the defense making enough plays necessary to get that win and help keep the Niners in the game. The Niners would go 3 and out. But on the next play, DJ Jones would force a fumble, giving the Niners the ball at the New Orleans 20. And 2 plays later, Jimmy would hit the people's tight end for a 5-yard touchdown and give the Niners the lead back at 35-30. See, what did I just talk about? The D not having the world's greatest game. And I believe DJ Jones, that's the play that he got hurt at and would miss the rest of the year. I believe that was the play. But it's the D needing a play. Hey, look, the offense, they're sputtering or anything like that. Hey, we're at the New Orleans 20, man. It's time to get a play. Let's get a turnover. Let's not force them to drive the ball, which we hadn't been doing at that point in the second half. Let's just give them a short field, come up with a play. And you know what? The defense should get all the credit in the world for that touchdown. That is an excellent play by the defense. And honestly, one of the reasons why if DJ doesn't come back next year, I'm going to be heartbroken. The Niners, blah, 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 force a fumble, give the 9 back, and 2 plays later, Jimmy would hit the people's side end. Yeah, I just said that. New Orleans would get the ball back and drive the ball all the way to the Niners 30, but the D would tighten up and hold again to a 48-yard field goal, making the score 35-33 Niners. This is where I think the game, even though it was back and forth, and yeah, the Niners could have lost, I think that honestly this might have been where the game was won. Because if New Orleans scores a touchdown there, I think that you see a different type of ball game. But the fact that we were able to hold them to a field goal and still maintain the lead was very, very important. The Niners again would be forced to punt, and yet again the Niners D would step up. But the play of the drive was made on 4th down when Taysom Hill's fake punt pass felt incomplete. Yes, there was PI, but there was no PI on a punt, and the Niners took over on their 45 with 56 seconds left in the third quarter. This is another play. I mean, let's be real, the special teams struggled this game too. But yet again, here they are, making a play when necessary. That was an excellent play by Travarius Moore. I didn't even know that rule. And so, obviously, clearly, this Aints didn't know the rule, even though Sean Payton was screaming for defensive holding. But whatever. That was an excellent play. And with Travarius Moore tearing his Achilles this year, yeah, it sucks not going to have him field, but he's a experienced special teamer that came up with that play. That was a huge play. Huge play. That allowed us to get a 2-score lead coming up. And it was just like all these plays just led little by little to us winning the game. And it's like without each one of these plays, we probably don't win this game. And so, yeah, a lot of special teams is much maligned, but you know what? That was a huge play. And I don't think if we didn't have Travarius Moore in that game, that play is probably not made. And honestly, I really, to this day, don't understand why they didn't just run Taysom Hill, but go figure. the Niners would put together a massive full 15-play drive that would end with a 6-yard KB touchdown with 9:06 left in the game, and the Niners holding a 42-33 lead. So I think that's important right there because that gave us the 2-score game. And so at that point in time, you're saying, okay, there's 9:06 left in the game. We're up by 9 points, or we're up by 12 points. Or yeah, 9 points. We're up by 9 points. I'm sorry, I didn't see the Niners giving up 9 points. I saw maybe giving up a touchdown, but I didn't see them giving up 9 points, which kind of is what happened. But we'll get into that right now. The Niners would look like they would stop New Orleans when Sully sacked Drew Brees on 3rd and 5, but a holding call on Sherman would keep the drive alive. And 3 plays later, Brees would hit Michael Thomas for a 21-yard touchdown, and this making the score 42-40 with 6:12 left in the game. And yet again, I mean, I think that it was a bullshit call. Let's be real. It was almost as bad as the roughing the passer on Drew Brees by Ahmad Brooks back in 2013 that cost us the number 1 seed and probably a trip to the Super Bowl, because I believe if that game's at the stick instead of freaking the clink, the Niners won the Super Bowl that year. But it was a BS call and everything like that, and it really sucked because you were really excited for Solomon Thomas because that would have been a huge play, probably would have sealed the game for the Niners. And you think that here finally Solomon Thomas starts making an impact, and it was all for naught. Man, I felt really bad for Solomon Thomas on that play. The Niners would tack on a Robbie Gould 41-yard field goal to make the score 45-40 with 2:28 left in the game. The Aints would go 5 plays, 75 yards, and take a 46-45 lead with 1 minute exactly left to play the game when Drew Brees hit Twan Smith for an 18-yard score, but the 2-point would fail, which ended up being very, very critical, and it made the score 46-45 instead of 48-45, which would only allowed us to tie it with the field goal. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and run a real quick commercial break, and then we're going to be back to finish up the game. And we're back. What's cracking, y'all? We're going to get in to probably one of the greatest regular season drives in team history. It was amazing. The Niners would get the ball back with 53 seconds left and the ball on their own or on their own 25-yard line. You had Jimmy hit a short pass to George Kittle for 8 yards. Timeout number 1, San Francisco. 2nd and 2 at the New Orleans 33. Jimmy's pass incomplete. Short middle intended for Emmanuel Sanders. 3rd and 2 at the Niners 33. Jimmy Garoppolo's pass incomplete. Short middle intended for George Kittle. Timeout number 2 by the Niners. Kyle Shanahan said he would take this timeout because it was insanely loud in there and that he knew the crowd couldn't go that hard. 2 plays in a row, and then it happened. 4th and 2 with 39 seconds left. The ball at the Niners' 33-yard line. Jimmy would hit Kittle for a short yard completion. Kittle would take it 39 yards, ruffling and tumbling and dragging and just kittling everybody in the whole freaking stadium. Oh, it was one of the greatest plays ever. I mean, they were dragging him down by his face mask and he was still carrying him. I was never so fired up. I remember that's just, if you ever want to describe George Kittle, Kittle Corn, the people's tight end, just throw somebody out of that tape. That's definitely going George Kittle's Hall of Fame. When they go play your highlights before the Hall of Fame, that play is definitely going on there. If George Kittle is lucky enough to make the Hall of Fame, which would be real, if he stays on this track, I mean, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. But he just takes it all the way down after the penalties, a face mask, and the craziness that would ensue. The ball is at the New Orleans 14. Raheem Mostert takes it for 3 yards up to the Niners 14. Jimmy would take a negative 1 yard, just kneel down to, line it up in the middle, take their last timeout, and then Robbie Gould from the Niners 12-yard line, 30 yards away from beating the Aints in the Superdome. His kick is up, and it is good! Oh, man. One of the most amazing Niner games that you could ever imagine. Jimmy's best game as a Niner. I mean, it was overworked. What, you had a game that, the whole game, there was only, let me see, right here, advanced defense, not starters, not snap counts, drives. You literally had the teams only punted 4 times. The Niners punted 3, and the Aints only punted 1 time. I mean, I never thought that I would see a Niner game where they only forced 1 punt, but still managed to win. I mean, this is New Orleans drives. Touchdown, 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 punt and a half, field goal, fumble, field goal, downs, touchdown, touchdown. Niners, touchdown, punt, touchdown, 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 interception, punt, touchdown, field goal. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a lot of scoring. What were the total offensive numbers? Niners ran 63 plays. New Orleans ran 68. Niners had 162 yards rushing. New Orleans had 116. Niners scored on 4 of 6 red zone trips. New Orleans 4 of 4. Niners had 10 penalties for 67 yards. And New Orleans had 5 penalties for 50. Time of possession was 31-23 for New Orleans, 28-37 for the Niners. Let's see. Jimmy was 27 of 36 for 354 yards. Drew Brees was 29 of 41 for 349 yards. Let me see. What was that? Wow. It's not saying. Niners outgained them 516 to 465. Where is it? Drew Brees had 5 touchdowns. Jimmy had 4 and a pick. Really, it could have been 5, but Raheem or Emmanuel Sanders had that one. I mean, this is a very, very interesting game. I love this game. Let me see. We're gonna go ahead and go over some. Oh, where's the box score? Here we go. Box score. Let me see. Emmanuel Sanders 1 for 1. That's funny to see. Our leading receiver was Emmanuel Sanders, who had 7 receptions for 157 yards and a touchdown. KB had 2 touchdowns. New Orleans' leading receiver was Michael Thomas, had 11 receptions for 134 yards. Let's see. The Niners' special teams was garbage. I mean, Deontay Harris had 155 yards returning on kickoffs with a long of 51, and on punt returns he had 2 for 37 yards with a long of 25. They actually didn't do that bad on punt returns. It was really only at one long 25-yarder. Jimmy Ward had 8 tackles, 8 solo. Richard Sherman had 7 tackles, 7 solo. It was all around a good game for everyone. Let me know, everybody, what you think of the game. I really wish that we could figure out this setup so that I could play some highlights for y'all, but unfortunately we can't. So we got 22 minutes to commercial break. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and we're going to rate a channel. _ Rich. Oh, he ain't live. All right, let's go 49ers. Always like to look up at, see if there's any Niner fans live for the streaming. I don't see any Niner fans. Let's see. He might be a Niner fan. Let's see. All right, well, we're going to raid his channel. So we're going to start the raid. Raid now. All right, I guess I just raided the channel. Let's try one more time. Just to make sure we did. Okay. And we're waiting. And we can raid now. Okay. So we raided. Lastly, before we get out of here, we, of course, like to remind everybody to go to twitch.tv/Niner Faithful Radio to Join us for all the live streams of all our shows. Also, if you're an Amazon Prime member, you can subscribe to our channel for free with Twitch Prime Gaming. You just gotta remember, make sure to sign up every month, but you get one free subscribe for a month. So please, if you find it in your heart, use it on us. For the Faithful, by the Faithful, pre-launch sales coming July 30th. Make sure to go to NinerFaithfulRadio.com/shops for all the details. You can save 20% on all our designs. Go to SeatGiant.com. Use the promo code NinerFaithfulRadio to save on all your concert, theater, and sporting event tickets. Go to get your officially licensed Niner gear by using our free affiliate link that will be in the description of this video and podcast. Go to NinerFaithfulRadio.com to check out all our interviews, blogs, and previous episodes of all our shows. You can follow us on social media on Facebook and Instagram at Niner Faithful Radio and on Twitter at Niner Faithful R. We shall see y'all tomorrow on Faithful Talk at 3 p.m. here on the West Coast. Till then, faith, love, and happiness. Go Niners.
It's second down. Ryan takes the snap, throws the slant to the left side. It's Russell. Intercepted. The 49ers pick it. And Navarro Bowman is redemption. Navarro Bowman running it all the way for the touchdown. No greater redemption. The man seat. Navarro Bowman, who could not cover an onside kick, catches a deflected pass for an interception and runs it 7 miles for a touchdown.
You are now tuned in to Red and Gold Rewind, exclusively streamed at twitch.tv/Niner Faithful Radio.
See ya.